Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Orphanlast, aka Skylar Madison, and welcome to the Teach Me to Draw series. Now, in the last video in this series, how to draw 3D text. Now, I can understand that that video was probably pretty difficult, and some of you might not have been able to follow through with it. So, just in case, I'm making this video so that everyone can try to sort of follow through. If you're finding that you're having difficulty following this video, just watch it start to finish, and you might be able to kind of start to understand. Like I said inside of this video, the how to draw 3D text, you have to kind of observe the formal technique and then you just have to think for yourself. It's hard for me to tell you what to think in every single scenario. So I'm going to draw some stuff and you can go ahead and try to draw line for line exactly what I'm drawing, but you're going to find that no matter what you do, you're going to wind up with different problems because perspective is math. And I guarantee you, if you try to draw line for line everything that I draw, you're going to wind up still having different problems that you need to solve. But I'm going to at least describe the problem-solving thought process that I'm going through step by step inside of this video. Like I said inside of the how to draw 3D text video, if you haven't seen the how to use Krita's assistant tool and what it's good for video, then you need to go back and watch this video, the how to use Krita's assistant tool and what it's good for. The video that you're watching right here, right now, also clearly illustrates that drawing is more than learning where the lines go. Okay, this is a concept that you're constantly going to be reminding yourself of every single time that you sit down and draw. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up a fresh document inside of Krita. We're going to press on this plus button in order to create a new layer. I'm going to double click this and call this floor plan. This exercise that I'm going to do inside of this video, it's an exercise that you should probably practice, especially if you're a newbie or somebody that's been drawing for a really long time and never reached that next level. You should probably do this exercise every single time you sit down just before you go start to draw what you want to draw, because this will get you in the practice of getting you to think about shapes, forms, existing inside of three-dimensional space. So this is the floor plan. Now, for the floor plan, what we're going to do is we're going to draw a really simple series of geometric shapes. Now, you could go ahead and draw the exact same geometric shapes that I'm drawing, or you could go ahead and create your own. But for this exercise, I have a really simple series of shapes that are all right angles except for a half circle and a 45-degree angle. Okay, so we're going to pull out the assistant tool. We're going to pull out the parallel ruler. We're going to create the ruler, and then we're going to grab one of the handles, press and hold shift, let go, and then we have a perfectly vertical parallel ruler. We're going to do that again, and we're going to press shift and let go of the cursor, and then let go of shift. Then we have a perfectly horizontal ruler. And then we go ahead and pull out the vanishing point, and pow, there we have it right there. What we're going to do is we're going to draw this shape from the floor plan layer, and we are going to draw it as if it's a three-dimensional shape. So I'm going to create a new layer, double click on it in order to rename it. I'm going to call it red, and I'm going to click on this layer properties button and click on red. I'm going to create another layer. I'm going to double click on it, type in blue, and I'm going to go to layer properties and click on blue. And then I'm going to create a new layer and call it perspective. And we're going to start drawing this as if it's a three-dimensional object. Now, the first line that we're going to start drawing is going to be right here, that specific wall. I'm going to press Ctrl-Shift-L, and that will snap it to the assistant. Draw this out right here. Okay, so that's our first wall right here, okay? Now we need to draw this back wall, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so far so good. However, our perspective lines are going to be like that. So in order to draw this line right here, we need to go something like that, which means that we're going to wind up covering up some of our work. And to reduce the amount of cleanup that I need to do, I'm just going to use this red layer. Okay, I'm going to lower the opacity of the red and blue layer. I'm going to use this red layer, and I'm just going to go like that. Okay? And if we notice right here, if you look at the red line that I'm drawing right here, this wall right here ends right about where this front wall ends. So I'm just going to draw a straight line that goes all the way across there and a line that goes straight up. Let me get rid of what you don't need to be looking at. This is all you need to be looking at, okay? So this line right here is just a means of measuring how far this wall goes that way. That's what this red and blue line signify. That's a measurement line. So now that we know that this wall overlaps some of our drawn out work, I'm going to just pull out my eraser and I'm going to erase little bits that I don't need anymore. And I'm going to just go ahead and draw out this wall. Now, already at this point, if you've been following with the tutorial, line by line, I guarantee you, in 99% of the cases, you're going to have already faced problems that I haven't even addressed. Your lines are going to be different than mine. I almost absolutely guarantee it. I'm going to go ahead and draw a line going here, and here. About right there, and that's what I just drew out was that wall right there. So I'm going to go to my perspective work and I'm going to get rid of portions of my work that I don't need anymore, and I'm just going to go ahead and draw out what I sketched out. Alright, that worked out pretty well. Now this half circle. How do we draw a half circle? Okay, well, it's not too difficult. So one of the things that I'm noticing here is that the back of this half circle is parallel the back of the wall right here. It's parallel with that. So I'm going to draw a wall that goes towards that back wall right there. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and draw out a rectangle. Okay, so I drew out a rectangle. Let me get rid of the portions of the line work that you don't need to see, okay? Sometimes it's difficult for you to see what you're drawing, and so, or at least what I'm drawing, especially when you start out. So you can see that rectangle in blue right there, right? So what I'm able to do is I'm able to pull out this dynamic brush tool, and I just need to round off the edge here and round off the edge here. Now there are more technical techniques to drawing this, but drawing ellipses, half circles, or circles in general in perspective is generally a very advanced technique, and a lot of the times, not all the time, but a lot of the time, it's just easier to just eyeball it and you wind up with a similar result. So I'm going to go back to my perspective layer, and I'm just going to use my dynamic brush tool, just kind of trace out what it is that I drew out there for the half circle in blue. And this might take a few tries, and that's fine if it does. Alright, so now we draw a line going up. Excellent. So now we have a 45-degree angle. How in the world do we do that? Well, it almost lines up with the back wall here. So I'm just going to go ahead. If we remember, the back wall is right here, and the back wall is right here. Okay, so I'm going to start using red lines in order for you to be able to see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to draw another rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to erase blue lines because it might be confusing you at this stage. So let's go ahead and erase all those blue lines. Alright, you see that red rectangle right there? Okay, this is all you need to do in order to make a 45-degree angle. You press and hold V, and you go from one corner of a square to another corner. And we do the same thing again. And there we have it. We have our 45-degree angle. So we pull out our perspective layer, and we just press and hold V and draw out these lines. Excellent. There we have it. We now have this shape in 3D, okay? But let me go ahead and show you this same shape again, using the exact same vanishing point. And this is why, if you try to follow along with every single line that I draw in perspective, or in general, whenever you try to learn how to draw, if you try to follow every single line that I draw, if you're wanting me to go like, okay, now I'm drawing a line like this, okay, now you draw it. Okay, now I'm drawing another line like this. Okay, now you draw it. Okay, and now I'm going to draw this shape. Okay, now you draw it. If that's the way that you want me to teach and for you to learn, it's not going to work. So let me go ahead and show you what I mean. Like, okay, so we're going to start with this wall once again, okay? Okay, so we drew out that wall. We're going to draw out this back wall again. That looks good. We're going to make sure that this next wall is going to be collinear. Alright, excellent. Now for the half circle and the 45-degree angle. Alright, so as you can see, we have 3 versions of the same shape, and they look completely different. This image right here looks like it's more of an aerial view. Now, we still are kind of looking down at that shape, but not as much as with the other version of it, and that's in 3D space. If I had drawn this out completely differently, say from this angle right here, I could have easily just changed it up way more by starting out right here and drawing out the shape over here. And if I had, then things would have been very dramatically different from the very beginning. Again, now we have 3 different 3D versions of the same shape, and each version is different. Notice how in the third version here, I have this downward swoop here, and then this upward swoop, whereas with this one, it's an upward swoop again. Upward swoop again. Okay, notice that? In order to get this half circle here. Notice how in order to get this 45-degree angle, it does a downward diagonal shape, and then an upward diagonal shape, and then an upward diagonal shape, more dramatic upward diagonal shape, more dramatic upward diagonal shape. Notice all that? Isn't that crazy? Now, with every single one of these, this face obscures this face right here, okay? But I can see a lot more of that face on this one. This face isn't obscuring it nearly as much. Isn't that weird? Whereas with this version of it, this face completely obscures the face that exists over here, behind it. Completely obscures it, 100%. Actually, it would be shaped more like that. It would be shaped more like that. So it's very difficult to teach perspective because ultimately what I can teach you is the general idea, the general perception, the formal techniques, and then you need to think and troubleshoot and solve the puzzle that you're creating. And even with just a weird little squiggly line like this, it can get pretty advanced. And just keep practicing things like this. So that's kind of a rundown of, 1-point perspective and such like that. We're going to delve a little bit deeper into 1-point perspective in the near future, and I hope you guys stay tuned for that. Hopefully these videos are interesting to you. In this video, you're able to kind of follow along with me a little bit easier. Let me know what you think about that, or if you guys are getting left behind. Just leave a comment down below in the comment section. I'll see what I can do to accommodate. And that pretty much concludes it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you guys would like to see more notifications from me, feel free to click on the bell, or go ahead and follow me on Twitter. If you guys would like to see more content from me, feel free to click on anything that's appearing on the screen right now. Thank you very much for your time.